Hi, my name is Frank. It's Friday. Time to kick back, talk music. In today's episode, we're reviewing a bunch of different releases, including the latest one from Extreme, and answering the question, did Extreme and Nuno Bettencourt just save rock and roll? Let's talk, coming up next. Alright, it's been a great month for new releases. I got a handful I want to talk to you about today, including the latest from Extreme. This album's called Six, and is not coincidentally their sixth release. I couldn't tell this when I ordered it online, but the cover of this record is textured. It's textured like gorilla fur, I guess, and I don't think there's any way. You can kind of see it there, but that's really hard to demonstrate on camera. I dig the album artwork. My one small pet peeve with these glossy covers is they show all your fingerprints. There's the front, there's the back, and there is the gatefold. I gotta tell you, I am digging this album. And I love the fact that it has thrust guitar shredding in the context of accessible rock songs back in the public mainstream. Overall, it's a typical Extreme album. It's very diverse. The first three singles would lead you to believe this was a straight up hard rock album, but that's not the case at all. It's hard rock, there's acoustic stuff, and even some electronic stuff. It mostly works, but for me personally, it doesn't always work. Like the track Small Town Beautiful has a bit of a country vibe, which is fine, but it doesn't really do it for me. And the songs with the electronic elements sound to me like they should have been released separately on a remix album. Doesn't mean I don't dig them, but they do stand out. That said, I get it. Like Queen, Extreme likes to incorporate a variety of sounds on a record, and it generally works. Here are the inserts, the custom inners. It's interesting, Nuno Bettencourt, the guitarist, he co-wrote pretty much all the tracks. He also produced the record, and he engineered it. So this is really... Nuno Bettencourt has his fingers all over this one. In terms of the tracks, Rise, the first single, obviously a total shredder. Banshee, to me, has a bit of an Aerosmith vibe. The Mask, which I also dig, has a bit of an Alice Cooper feel to it. Beautiful Girls is a fun summer song with a nod to Van Halen's Beautiful Girls at the end. If you've heard it, you know what I'm talking about. And the closer, Here's to the Losers, is an obvious nod to Queen's We Are the Champions. I also love the fact that the band did not go for perfection on this record, but rather feel. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing at all, but these guys don't sound like robots playing. It's not pro-tooled to death. When Nuno is shredding on his guitar, you can tell it's him. You can hear his fingers digging into the strings. Some of the harmonies, some of the vocal harmonies are just a tiny bit off in a couple of places. And again, I'm not saying this as a bad thing. It really adds to the feel of this record. It makes you think these guys are humans. These guys are rocking out and having a great time, and this thing is not overproduced like so many records nowadays tend to be. Overall, this is a great album, a lot of fun. I think it's what we really needed right now. I mean, some people are saying this album is gonna save rock music. I don't know if I would go that far, but it is really cool to see guitarists like Nuno thrust back into the spotlight. That is awesome. It's still maybe a little too early to tell, but this is probably going to be my go-to album for the summer of 2023.
Love vinyl? Tell the world with a Channel 33 RPM t-shirt. Check out the Channel 33 RPM store today.
All right, what else do we have here? I got a couple CDs I want to show you. This is the debut, brand new, the debut from a band called Elegant Weapons, and this is on Nuclear Blast Records. And if you're not aware, Elegant Weapons is a side project of Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest, and this album is kind of an all-star lineup on here, right? You got Rex Brown from Pantera on bass, you got Scott Travis from Judas Priest on drums, and on vocals you got Ronnie Romero. Now, Rex and Scott played on the album, but they're not going to be part of the touring band. Richie has assembled some other musicians for that. So this is traditional metal with a bit of a modern twist. There are a couple really, really good metal anthems on here. I really love Do or Die. I love Blind, Leading the Blind, and I love the title track, Horns for a Halo. Is this all awesome? No. There is, and I'm sorry to say this, Richie, there is some filler on here, but overall a really good album. If you like Judas Priest's last record, Firepower, it has a similar sort of tone and feel to it, and obviously Richie played on Firepower and Richie is playing on here. So yeah, definitely a fun record. I've only heard it a handful of times, so I'm still digesting it. Maybe with a few more listens I will learn to appreciate some of the tracks a little more, but so far, yeah, it's a decent metal release, and I'm happy to see Richie doing something beyond Judas Priest, and maybe this is what his exit strategy is. That maybe this is what he'll do after Priest folds, right? Because he's a lot younger than the other guys in Priest, so maybe this will be his post-Priest project. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with these guys. This, again, is called it's called Horns for a Halo, and the band is Elegant Weapons. Another CD I picked up. This is the new one from a band out of Toronto, Canada called Blood Ceremony. The album is called The Old Ways Remain. If you're not familiar with Blood Ceremony, they're a female-fronted band. They've been called flute-tinged witch rock. They've been called heavy psychedelia. They've been called acid folk. They've been called occult rockers. You kind of get the gist of it. I love their older stuff. Maybe I gotta live with this album a little more. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's quite as good as their last albums. Their last release, Lord of Misrule, it's my go-to. You have to check out Lord of Misrule. This one's a little bit softer, maybe a little more mellow, maybe a little more mature, a little more diverse. As I said, it's a good album. I got to live with it for a while. I'm just super happy to see Blood Ceremony releasing something new. They do definitely have a unique sound. I think they're big in Europe. When I go to their website, they seem to be spending a lot of time touring in Europe. But yeah, Blood Ceremony, The Old Ways Remain. Next up, we have the brand new 3-LP reissue, deluxe reissue of Alice Cooper's Killer. I did an unboxing of this record a couple of weeks ago. If you want to see more of what's inside, do check that video out. When I did that, I promised I'd come back and talk a little bit more about this release. Again, it's a 3-record set. The first record is the original LP remastered, and records 2 and 3 include a live concert as well as some various rarities. I gotta say, overall, this record sounded a lot better than I expected. In terms of the studio album, I did an A-B comparison with my original Canadian pressing, and it certainly held up favorably, which is not always the case with modern reissues. This one maybe sounds, I made some notes on here, maybe sounds a little more mellow than the original, if that makes sense. It sounds like some of the high end has been rolled off and the mids boosted a little. I won't say it's the ultimate pressing, but definitely sounds very good. In terms of the live concert stuff, again, I did not know what to expect in terms of a live recording from 1972 or whatever it was, but it sounds really good. Great vocal performance from Alice. He is totally on, and I like the fact that in 18 they kind of do a mashup with American Pie. That's pretty cool. And in terms of the bonus content, there are some single edits, including a single edit for Dead Babies, which is one of my favorite Alice Cooper songs. It's almost like, I was going to say it's almost like a whole new song. Not quite, but there's some elements in the chorus that have been brought out, which are really cool. So yeah, I'm really digging the reissue of Killer. Oh, and there's my original right there. That's what I compared it to. Also with Alice Cooper, here is the 3-LP reissue from Rhino. And again, I did the unboxing of this video a couple of weeks ago, and I promised I would come back and talk a little bit about it. And again, same as Killer, this reissue sounds really decent. I did comparisons with this and the original pressing. It holds up well. And again, the same as Killer. The first record is the studio LP remastered, And records 2 and 3 include some live stuff and some studio rarities. And the bonus stuff includes some really cool stuff, including an early demo for Elected. So it was really cool to see that song as a work in progress. Again, a really cool record, which I would definitely recommend, especially for the hardcore Alice Cooper fans out there. All right, 33ers, those are my record reviews for this week. Which of these albums have you heard and what'd you think about them? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll be back again in a couple of days. Till then, keep on spinning.